it, I said, running out of the auditorium. I then hugged both my parents. Show us the license, said David. I then showed David and Peter the license. Wow, said Peter. And the best part is that I get to go to actual crime scenes now and go to areas where they only allow cops. I said. Awesome, said David. Well, when are you going to begin work? Peter asked. I then got out my phone and turned it on. Tomorrow, if possible, I answered. My phone then turned on and I unlocked it. Are you calling, work now? Peter, your work now? Peter asked. Yes, I answered. I then took a look at my app screen and I noticed something that was not the case before I turned my phone off when I entered the auditorium, and that was I got 10 text messages, up from 0 before I entered. What's this? I asked. I then went to the text screen and Marcus was the one who sent me all those texts. Uh-oh, I said. All those texts were the exact same words, and they all came past 5 when the ceremony was taking place. Those words were written in all capital letters. Come to Robbinsog right now. Oh shit, I said. What is it, said Peter. I'm going to need to begin that job in a week because something I have to deal with just came up, I answered. What is it, Peter asked. I'll tell you when it is over, I answered. Okay, Peter said slowly, like he was just saying the words O and K. We need to go to the red line right now, I said very firmly. What's going into you, David asked. Now, I screamed. We then began to walking west toward Gorfield. Is Marcus okay? David asked. I don't know, I answered. Is he dead? Peter asked. Do you mean Marcus's mother? I asked. Yes, Peter answered. I don't know, I answered. What do you mean you don't know? Peter asked. I then showed Peter the texts on my phone. Well, that's pretty vague, said Peter. Peter then gave my phone to David. Yeah, said David. When we get on the red line, I'm getting off at Jackson, and I may not be home tonight, I warned. Why? Peter asked. I can't tell you, I answered. Why? David asked. I can't tell you! I screamed. Here, you don't need to scream at us, said David. Too bad. My boyfriend is in trouble, I said. How do you know that? Peter asked. I then gave Peter an evil look. Do you need your eyes transplanted? I asked. No, Peter answered. Well, too bad. I think they need to be transplanted because you didn't read the text I sent you, I said. You're probably right, Peter said. I always am, I said. We then began to walk over the bridge to the Gorfield Red Line station. It was on the Dan Ryan Expressway. And when I looked down at the expressway, I noticed something. There were no cars heading westbound on I-90/I-94 into downtown Chicago, but there was a standstill traffic jam for cars heading east on I-90/I-94, leaving downtown Chicago. The sun was beginning to set over downtown Chicago, and the sun was in a position where looking at the skyline was bad for your eyes, so I couldn't see anything. I'm going down, I said. I screamed. I then scanned myself my cord into the Gorfield station and went down the platform and ran up to the 4 North side. Hannah, you know we cannot run as fast as you, said David. I need the front core. I need the front core. I need to watch the skyline as we enter downtown Chicago, I said. Okay, said Peter. What's going on? David asked. I'll tell you later, I answered. About 3 full southbound trains passed us before a northbound train that was almost empty came to pick us up. Can you tell us what is going on now? Peter asked. I'll tell you when we get close to the skyline, I answered. It was about 15 minutes before we got to Chinatown Cermak, where the costume shop is, but once we got closer to the subway portion of the red line, I then saw helicopters flying in all directions over downtown Chicago. Do you see those helicopters? I asked. Yes, Peter answered. Yes, David answered. That is why I need to get off at Jackson, I said. What are they there for? Peter asked literally as we were entering the subway. Well, I don't know, but I will find out later, I answered. It was about 5 minutes and then we were off at Jackson. Bye, Peter. Bye, David. I love you. I'll let you know when it is all over, I said. I then got off the Red Line train and watched them wave at me with worry in their eyes as they went on to Howard. I don't think I've ever seen Jackson Station, this building. It was so busy I literally couldn't tell which way was the better exit for Robbins-Og. I then took running down the platform. Move! 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 I was screaming at the top of my lungs as I was running and showing my law license to let everyone know to obey me because I think a crime scene may be going on. I then got to the mezzanine in Jackson Station, and that I took to get to Robbinsog. There were too many people entering Jackson Station for me to get out, and it lasted this way for a good 5 minutes before there was a gap as I was stopped by police officers. Ma'am, this is currently only one way. We're only letting people in and not letting them out, said the police officer. I then showed the police officer my badge. Not an excuse, said the police officer. My boyfriend may be in danger, I said. I know you just made that up, said the police officer. I then punched the police officer so hard I knocked him out. I then went rushing up the stairs to the street level, and outside there were all these cops pointing their guns at the building Robbins-Og was in. Now I know why all the cops were heading downtown, I said to myself. I stood there watching what was going on, but when I took note of was that there were helicopters flying around just as the return said there would be. Wendling Johnson, you have 72 hours for you and your accomplices to come out, otherwise we're forcing you in and we will open fire, said one of the cops through a megaphone. Wendling Johnson, that's the return, I screamed to myself. I then went running toward the door to the Robbins-Og building, and I could hear cops coming after me. Freeze, yelled one of the cops. I then showed my law license, which can let me go to crime scenes. Not an excuse, said the cop with a megaphone. I didn't obey. I just lunged through one of the windows of the building's entrance. Glass shattered everywhere, but I landed beyond it. I laid low, no one fired, so after about 2 minutes, I made a run for it and quickly and quietly into the stairwell. After I was in the stairwell, I waited for about 2 minutes to make sure I wasn't being followed, and then I went flying up the stairs. As I was going up, I could tell the building had been evacuated because of how quiet it was as I was passing levels 2 through 6. When I got to 7, I put my ear up to the door and I heard nothing. I then creeped outside the door and I still heard nothing. I then went to the Robbins-Og door and I heard nothing, and then I heard Marcus scream something I couldn't make sense of. It didn't matter that I couldn't make sense of what he was saying. I literally kicked the door off its hinges with my foot. The first thing I saw when I entered Robbins-Og was Marcus, or of how he was acting, Dr. Marcacius, sticking the gun we found at the public storage inside the return's mouth. Now I don't feel afraid at all that I need to tell Marcus that I should be on my period right now, but am not, and missed it for the second time because this scares me a lot more.